What's up, everybody? So I want to make this quick video, and this is going to be regarding first-time home buyers. And even if you qualify for a first-time home buyer program, some information that I've been coming across and just a number of things that I've been observing. So I'm going to jump right into it, but I do ask, hey, give us a thumbs up on the video. But more than that, if you know there are people that are looking to purchase their first home, or maybe they already have a home, but because of the cycle of time that they've been in that home, they could possibly still qualify again for the first time home buyer program, or if you're looking to purchase your first home in particular. So this is going to be really heavily centered around first-time home buyers and some things that can drastically impact, or is going to drastically impact, your ability to purchase your first home if you're looking to do that. And some things that you probably are going to need to focus on and do to even position yourself where you can get into a home in the years to come, moving forward from as we close out 2023. So first of all, some of the home buyer programs, from what I'm hearing, are going to be extending the time that's allocated toward closing. So say, for instance, before, if you could get into a first-time home buyer program and possibly say you can close in 30 days or maybe even 45 days, I'm starting to hear that those days are going to be extended out, possibly 60 days and 70 days. And you say, well, why does that matter as long as we're closing? Well, if you got another more capable buyer who already has funding, and they don't necessarily need a first-time home buyer program, and they can close faster, and they're bringing cash to the table, right? And they can outbid you on this particular home that you're interested in. Well, naturally, you got 2 contracts, 3 contracts. I mean, you're going to probably see that homeowner lean more toward that person who can close faster, who's bringing some cash up front to the deal, versus someone who can't close as fast and who has to wait 60 days or 70 days to be able to close on this home. Especially when, think about it. Most people, if they're selling their home to move to another home, they're working within a window of time where they're trying to get out of one into another one, because most people, and a lot of people, can't carry 2 mortgages, right? So it's imperative that they need to close on this deal relatively quickly in order to make sure that they're able to move into their new home. So that could be a difficult situation for people who are looking to get into their first home, or looking to take advantage of some first-time home buyer programs. If they're extending the program closing time, that can drastically affect your ability to compete with your contract that you present if you have to delay the closing. Secondly is, now we're probably going to see interest rates hopefully next year in the election cycle. The Fed's been paused for a while now. They're holding steady where they are, but it's possible they may be able to start curtailing or preparing for a soft landing with interest rates beginning sometime next year. But even yet so, if that happens, depending on what your personal income is and your debt to income ratio, because of where prices are, you may only qualify, for enough home where it doesn't get you into the areas that you may want to be, that you're looking in and may want to move into. So you may not have enough income, as well as if you have some debt that you're carrying, your debt to income ratio. It may qualify you for something, but it may not qualify you for as much as you want to get from lending sources in order to get you into the type of home that you want to get into. Then you still have to worry about those buyers who are more ready to purchase because they got cash and they got some funding already in position through savings. They still may put in a deal that outbids what you have available in terms of resources. So that could be a major issue for a lot of people who are trying to get into their first home, especially if they're going through a first-time home buyer program. You may not qualify based on your income. You might be just priced out the market, and you may have to begin looking in other areas where the prices are not elevated, especially if you're living in certain major markets around the United States. If you live in Houston, or you're in Dallas, or you're in Los Angeles, or New York, or Jersey, or Atlanta, God help us all, or you're in even certain suburban areas of Detroit, or certain areas outside of Austin, Texas, or certain surrounding areas of the major cities in different states. So you may have to reevaluate the areas that you're looking at, because your income, and then when they apply the principles of your debt to income ratio to it, your income may only qualify you for certain areas, and you might be priced out of certain other areas because you won't be able to qualify for enough to even get into those homes at the prices. Now, let's just say those interest rates starts curtailing off, and the Fed starts truly achieving the soft landing that they're looking towards by starting to ease off and pull back and starting to reduce interest rates. Well, one of the problems with that is prices don't necessarily catch up with interest rates right away. The interest rates could come down, but prices don't always follow that quickly behind. So that could be an issue. As well as trying to squeeze out. So I want to say the inflation rate was, please don't quote me on this, because I saw what it was a couple of days ago, but I can't remember the exact amount. I want to say the core inflation rate was still 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, somewhere. It could even been 4%. So trying to squeeze out those the last bit of inflation to get us down to what the Fed wants to get us to at 2%, those are the most difficult amounts. It's like when we're pressuring up gas pipe, getting that last 100 pounds. It seems like it goes quickly when you're first starting, but trying to squeeze out and pressurize and get that last bit of inflation out, and get us, get that last 2% or that last 1.5%. It gets really, really difficult to do. And so it's going to be a challenge for the Fed to really get us to that 2%. It may take some time, is what I'm saying. So you could be priced out the market in terms of what your income will qualify you for, especially if you are applying for the loan as a single person, as an individual, and you're not married, and guys are not coming together joint with two incomes trying to get into a home for the first time, which would be a tremendous help if you got two incomes. So those are what I'm seeing as a few of the biggest issues. Number one, getting priced out the market because your income may not qualify you for certain areas because of the elevated prices or the prices of homes. Interest rates is one thing, but prices prices is another one, depending on what your debt to income ratio is. That's why I'm still suggesting we see what's happening right now in the United States. The personal savings rate has drastically declined, but the credit card debt is like 1.8 trillion or something. It's ridiculous, right? So the average home, I think they say, is carrying 6,400 plus credit card debt. So you got to get credit card debt paid off. If you have any personal loans, you got to get this stuff paid off. You literally need to be walking into a situation. I would even avoid, and I know people like their cars and stuff like that, but you got to get your debt to income ratio low in order to maximize what you qualify for a home. Then you can always circle back, right? And get a car or whatever like that. But if you got to have that car now and you get it on payments, your debt to income ratio is going to be hit in terms of what you are able to afford for a home. And then, like I talked about, the first time homebuyer programs, if they're extending out the closing time, and you got a more ready buyer because they're bringing cash to the table and they don't necessarily need a first homebuyer program or some type of financial assistance, they can pretty much bring their contract to the table, and the people, the homeowners will accept their contract or yours because they can close a lot faster. And then also, as I mentioned, just because interest rates are going to be curtailing off and they're going to get that slow landing, or going for the soft landing, that's necessarily prices are not going to necessarily particularly follow that quickly behind. I mean, we've reached a new normal, right? So if you're a first-time home buyer, and you're looking to get into a home, I'm really encouraging people, once again, get out of debt. That's going to help you a lot. You may not be able to significantly increase your income right up front, but you can reduce your expenses and you can get out of debt. You reduce your burn rate and your overhead expenses and costs of what you spending out, and make some adjustments in your day-to-day living and your budget in order to get your debt to income ratio down, so you can squeak out some more money that you qualify for. When you go to seek funding or a mortgage for a loan. And pretty much, I think that's it. I mean, this is I know it may not seem like this is important information, but this is extremely important information. And you can find yourself bringing a contract to the table, a deal to the table, and you keep getting, your contract not accepted. You're going to be wondering, why is somebody always, they're not accepting my contract? And it could be for some of those reasons that I just mentioned right now in this video. So pass this information on to people that are trying to get into first-time homebuyer programs. And then, even if you qualify, check this out, this is very important. Extremely important. Even if you qualify for a first-time homebuyer program, they accept your deal. Everything seems like it's working good. You still, depending on what type of loan that you got, unless you're getting a rural development loan or something like that, you still got to bring, more than likely, if you want to get into a deal with where prices are now, you almost need to bring a substantial down payment that's more than 3% or 5% to the table, because, like I said, if your income doesn't qualify you for the areas that you want to move into because of where the prices are, you're probably going to need to bring some funds to the table, as well as the necessary funds that you're going to need for closing costs. And then on top of that, many areas, I know where I live, even in the urban areas, the suburban areas, especially the suburban areas. We're not even going to talk about places like I mentioned, Houston, Atlanta, places like that, Dallas, Texas. Taxes. When they escrow your mortgage and you got to add that onto your escrow, could be more than your actual mortgage payment. So You got to even consider what your taxes are going to be, and if and how much that's going to add to your monthly expenditure in terms of getting into this home or getting into your first home. So taxes are going up. Assessed values in most townships, they're going up in order to be able to charge more for taxes. So you got to seriously consider that too. So pass this information on. Share this video. I know a lot of times people will listen to it for themselves, but you need to share this with your family, with your friends, and people that have an interest that you know of who want to be able to move from renting to home ownership and start building equity. When you start building equity, it's like putting a check in your pocket every month, right? And it really, some people say, well, a home is not an investment, but I personally believe it is. It's one of the components of your net worth, and it is one of the components that's often a big, significant portion of people who are able to build a suitable, sizable net worth and reach a place of more financial freedom and living in financial freedom. So pass this information on to somebody that you may know who can benefit from this information that I'm sharing, so you can find some workarounds, so you can also start working on paying off debt now, reducing your expenses. Figure it out, because things are not necessarily going to move and get better simply because you're saying, well, oh, interest rates are coming down now. Oh man, I can go out and buy a home. Not necessarily. So listen to this information. Find some other ways to figure out how you can get this done, and start putting some funds and some cash and some savings away so that you have something to bring to the table to better position yourself to qualify and compete for other people who are going to be putting in contracts for homes that you may be interested in, and pass this information on to your friends. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. This is the Working People's Podcast. James Hollingsworth, where everybody desires to build generational wealth and a financial legacy for their families.